club. Does anyone know who the first female member of Muskegon Rotary was? Ann Johnson. Wait. The answer, to the best of my recollection, is Sue Wieringo. Sue Wieringo. So Annette, since you won that, I have a special prize for you. 4 passes for Muskegon Polish Fest. Just a few facts about women in Rotary. I looked back on it. Sue Wieringo was our first female member back in 1988. And she also went on to become our first woman president in 1999, 2000. So for those of you that did not know, or maybe weren't up on the facts, in May of 1987, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that Rotary needed to admit women, which I just find remarkable, being from the generation that I am. Now, some things about Sue. I found this in an article, and I met Sue back in 2005 going through Leadership Muskegon. If anyone went through that program, she was a facilitator, and that was one of my introductions back into the community when I moved here back in 2003. So a few facts about Sue. She grew up in North Muskegon, and then she went on to the all-girls Emma Willard School in Troy, New York. And then she went on to receive a degree from Smith College in Massachusetts. If you're familiar with that institute, it's very prestigious. She was the first female, or first, not even female, just first executive director of what became Harbor Hospice. So a lot of firsts for Sue Wieringo. She later went on to be a Muskegon City Commissioner for 4 terms, starting in 2005 through 2019. And I looked up some stats on women in Rotary, and worldwide, women make up 22% of Rotary membership, but our club, it's 44%. So that just proves how enlightened Muskegon Rotary is. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Darlene Collet for our reflection.
You may sit down if you like. I'm sure all of you have received your September Rotary. And in that, of course, there's an article about COVID and the COVID pandemic and Rotary's response. So when I was thinking about reflection this morning, I ran across an article that was written by Jan Perry, who is a member of the Oklahoma City, there we go, Oklahoma City Rotary Club. And she wrote an article entitled Back to the Future. And as I was reading it, I thought, oh, here's some things that addresses what we're all living through, have lived through, and are still facing. So I share with you some excerpts from her article. Remember the movie Back to the Future? Ever wish you could go back in time and advise a younger version of you to impact your future? Imagine today you could jump into that 1985 DMC DeLorean, flip on the flux capacitor, hit 85 miles per hour and travel back in time. What would you change? Ask yourself, in the past over a year and a half, what did I learn? What do I regret? What things were at one time essential now seem ridiculously non-essential? Who did I lose? How did I grow? What became clear? And probably most important of all, what would I do different? If you had the ability to go back pre-pandemic, what would you put in place to make your business, workplace, or personal life better today? Knowing what you know today, what advice and hard-earned lesson would you want branded in your mind so history would not repeat itself? What conversations would you engage in deeper? Whose faces would you study harder? With whom would you stick around to laugh a little longer? Who would you check on and listen to longer? Whether it is in our business or our personal lives, we always want to be the best of who we are, give our all for what we do. Always remember, you can't change yesterday. Today is a present, and tomorrow is a promise. Thank you.
All right, we'll take a quick break for lunch and we'll be back with our visiting Rotarians and guests and our program. You guys could come up now, and also Jim Fisher has a guest and Kathy Betts has a guest. Put the X between. There we go. We want everyone to. All right, so it is my pleasure to introduce Mason and Matt Schlafer. You may recognize them. Mason has been a guest at our club several times over the years. I believe the first time was when you came to Bob Skolnick's house. Was that the first? And Bob was so impressed by what Mason was doing, he had to invite him to our club. So I asked Matt to give me a few factoids about Mason. And once I go through these, you will understand how impressive of a young man he is. First of all, Mason is here doing his fundraising for Boy Scouts. He is an Eagle Scout. He's been an Eagle Scout since he's been 14 years old. And I found out a little more trivia today that Jim Fisher was the first Eagle Scout in the troop that Mason is in now. So look at that. Look at that. Okay. So this is not your normal fundraising that Mason does. And we have a value at Raffle. We call it being hungry. And Mason embodies that. And that's going above and beyond when you're not asked to excel. So just listen to some of these numbers. Mason's yearly national ranks in sales for the Boy Scouts fundraising is third in 2016, first in the country in 2017, second in 2018, he missed by $56, first in 2019, and first in 2020. So that in itself right there is incredible. He's been the #1 all-time seller in the 40-year history of the Boy Scout popcorn fundraiser and has over $275,000 in lifetime sales. All right. I'm just at the top of this. So this is going to be one of those ones you're going to think this is the program. This is not the program. We do have a program after this. Over $205,000 he's raised has remained in West Michigan. 73% of the funds that are raised from this fundraiser come back to our community. He has funded over $3,000 in camperships for kids that couldn't afford to go to camp, donated $200 to 2 boys whose home burnt to the ground just before Christmas, donated $500 to his fellow Boy Scouts to help with their Eagle Scout project, donated another $500 to the council's Friends of Scouting fundraiser. I think this is all from his dad. If you can't tell, his dad is a proud dad, and we're all proud of our children. But this is a real team effort because Mason and Matt have came to my house, I think, the last 5 years. So I saw him a couple weeks ago. But listen to this: Mason has paid for 11 Feeding America food trucks for those in need in our community. He pays for 1 each quarter. The next being September 18th, St. Gregory's Episcopal Church across from Mona Shores Football Stadium. Each truck feeds 130 to 150. And you know, one thing from this is being the top seller in the nation is nice, but Mason truly has a heart of gold, and he, you know, he's a humble guy, but he likes, you know, it's not just about seeing his name in lights, but he's helping his fellow humans. So just a round of applause for Mason and Matthew. You guys can have a seat. They'll be hanging around after, so you can get some of his popcorn and other goodies, and I would encourage you to help support his fundraiser. Jim Fisher has a guest.
Good afternoon. Well, first of all, congratulations to Mason. I'm proud to say that my wife and my family and I are customers of Mason's from almost day one when he started all this, and he is several inches taller from when we originally saw him, and continued to work and got his eagle. Mason, it was almost to the day 61 years ago that I got my eagle. So, and as Mason knows and Matt knows, once an eagle, always an eagle. So congratulations. I'm here today to introduce a friend, Chris Cheney. Chris is relatively new to Muskegon, although he married a longtime friend of my daughter's. Many of you may know Acme Cleaners, and Chris married Jasmine Anderson. However, they have been traveling in many parts of the world for several years teaching in Thailand, Costa Rica, and Korea. And so the international flavor of Rotary, I think, will be attractive to Chris. He works for a software startup called Elicity, and as a prospective new member. Welcome, Chris.
Hello, I am here with Monica Turnbull. She is our newest Resource Development Director at Boys and Girls Club of Muskegon Lakeshore, and just in time for our gala, because tickets are on sale in the next few weeks here. And I'll give you 5 if I can give them. So she also is the wife to our one and only Brandon Turnbull. So give her a warm welcome, and potential member. So.
Okay, on to our program. Our program this week is Latinos Working Towards the Future, and it is hosted by Rotarian Troy Bell. Take it away, Mike.
Welcome, everybody from Rotarians. Good afternoon. We're excited to be here with 2 beautiful ladies that I want to introduce to you here. We have Angelita Valdez, who is the Behavioral Health Therapist and Chief Executive Officer and proud owner of Servicio de Esperanza, LLC, providing bilingual therapy, substance abuse counseling, and play therapy to families and children. Angelita is involved with numerous community and professional affiliations and serves as a board member for Latinos Working for the Future. Angelita is also a proud member and founder of Alpha Kappa chapter of Hermandad de Sigma Iota Alpha Incorporada. Hopefully I pronounced that properly. And we have Elizabeth Briseño. And Elizabeth is the Human Resource Manager at a local credit union. In addition to human resources, she provides Spanish translation and knowledge of community engagement opportunities. Elizabeth is also Vice President of Latinas Working for the Future and was recognized as 2019's top 25 Latinx in the state of Michigan by the Hispanic Latino Commission of Michigan. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Hello.
All right. So let's go ahead and jump in. And I should have introduced myself. My name is Troy Bell. I'm the city manager for the city of Muskegon Heights. And it is a pleasure and honor to be here with you today, to be part of this conversation and the opportunity to introduce your organization to the greater Muskegon community and to be part of the work that you're doing to bring better community and a more fuller community to Muskegon. So let's jump in with an introduction of the organization. What is Latinos Working for the Future, and what is the mission? that's for you, Angelita.
Sure. So I'm the president of Latinos Working for the Future. Thank you so much for having us this morning. Our purpose is to unify and organize the Latino community of the greater Muskegon area. It was founded in July of 1991 by my parents, Angel Luis and Connie Navarro, and it continues to this day with the mission of uniting the Latino community and making sure that our voices are heard within the Muskegon County. We celebrate our culture, we unify the different Latinos within the community. There are 20 Latin American countries, and so when we think about Latino, most times we think of Mexican, and so it's important for us to be able to organize within ourselves, but then also to organize and to share our culture and community with the rest of the Muskegon community. We also have to have the active interest in promoting our history, so partnering with different organizations, as well as promoting education, both for our adults and our children.
Well, Angelita, thank you for that. And you touched a little bit on the history. Do you want to go into more depth about the history of the organization?
Sure. So in 1991, I would say that my parents and family members were very active within the community. In 2007 and 8, there was an oral history project that was happening. And so 1991 to 2008, they were very active in terms of creating scholarships for Latino students to go to college. There were 3 different organizations. Latinos Working for the 2 under. One was called Latino Generation, which was for the younger children. We had a folklorico dance group here in Muskegon County, where we taught children how to do our ethnic traditional dancing and had our traditional wear. We also did a lot of the different activities and festivals in Muskegon County. And then there was also Latino Seniors, and that was for our elderly. We think it's very important to continue to have communication and to have a relationship with our elders. And so it was founded on those 3 different subgroups to the Latinos throughout the years.
Beautiful. So this question that I have is for both of you. Tell me or share with me a little bit about the work that your organization does and the programs that you run. You want to go first, Elizabeth?
I can go first, and I'm going to talk more recently in the last few years, but Latinos Working for the Future has founded the Muskegon County Latino Festival that happened 2 years ago at Hackley Park. It was a great success. Not only were we able to share our culture, but we had vendors and resources there sharing knowledge about what we have in the community for people. We also have been doing a few different presentations. We did one at Hackley Library, and we discussed a little bit about our culture. We did COVID relief presentations, our missions, and we were able to give out PPE equipment to the community. So we've done quite a few events out in the community and just trying to get resources out.
When we think about historically, in 1991, the organization was founded, and at that time, there was a large population of elders in the community that wanted to make this town better for our younger generations. So in 1991 and through the 2000s, there were active participation in different organizations and collaborations. There were scholarships for Latino seniors graduating, going to college. 8 years ago, we had the first Latino college fair at Muskegon Community College, and we held that for a couple of years. In 2007 and 8 was the first book collaboration, and those were from the Latino elders. At this point, in 2021, they're probably in their 90s and 80s, but there was a book that was written from that oral history project in 2007 and 2008 that came out in 2010, and it's called A New Home in Michigan, the Mexican American Experience Connie Navarro, one of our founders, and Dr. Daniel Yates. And what that did was it was able to bring the community that was here in the 1940s. So for many of our Latino seniors that are here in Muskegon currently, they were migrant workers, and they came from Texas and Florida and would go back and forth between Michigan and their hometowns. And so in World War II, they began to move to Muskegon and really set their roots here. The men began to work in the factories to make to have a better life and to be finding their homes here and to be building their community here instead of being so transient, moving back and forth. So it really depicts what it was like to live in and how those children raised their families here and how brave their parents were to leave that lifestyle and to come and found their homes here in Muskegon County. And then what it has been like for them to raise their families here and then their children and their grandchildren. And like I said, today they're in their 90s and 80s, and we're still blessed to have many of them with us.
That is absolutely wonderful. And I say that because being Afro-Latino myself, my grandmother coming from Panama, I hear the stories of the difficulties that she went through being an immigrant in this country. And I wish a program like that would have been available for them when they were going through similar things years ago. So that is wonderful. In that vein, can you give us what you would say is the best example of the difference that that your organization makes? Angelita, you want to take a stab at that?
Sure. I would say personally, our organization it was founded in 1991. And so I think even for today, even though we're smaller in stature, that many organizations respect the work that we've done throughout the years and the work that we continue to do with our small board. For example, last year during the COVID pandemic, there was no literature available that was translated into the Spanish language. And so to be called upon by Health West and Muskegon County Health Department to translate some of those documents and to really take up active interest in wanting to make sure that we had COVID vaccinations available in Spanish and having a Latino Day, we were given donations of PPE to give to the different schools and to our different constituents. And so I think it's important that even though we have a 5-member board, that we are still mighty and that we are still active in this community. And for me, I think that speaks a lot. You see lots of organizations that begin and they do a lot of really good work for a couple of years, but to have a nonprofit that's been here for 30 years, the board that is a working board and to still be well respected, I think speaks highly to our organization.
Excellent. Now, is there anything, Elizabeth, that you would say that you wish more people knew about the organization?
I would have to say that I wish more people knew about our organization. I think we have a good foundation, and we do have a lot of connections, but there are still a lot of people in the Muskegon County that aren't aware of Latinos Working for the Future. And we want to also be that bridge between the organization and the community and getting the word out of Latinos Working for the Future, but also, as Angelita said, having that Spanish literature. There are often times where people go to certain programs or resources in the community, but there is no translator or there is no literature in Spanish. And oftentimes in the Hispanic community, what parents do is they bring their young children to those appointments. And I have personally also found it difficult, even as an adult child, going to my parents' appointments to help them because there is no translation. So I just wish that more people knew of Latinos Working for the Future and also having that Spanish literature for our community and Spanish translators.
Great. So this question is for you again, Elizabeth. What would make the greatest difference in helping your organization get better at what it does today?
I would have to say Spanish literature and bring in certain organizations and resources to our community. As Angelita mentioned before, we are 5 members, active members in Latinos Working for the Future. So I would say, having more resources, having more people help out, and just, getting the word out and getting resources out to the community.
Okay. And Helita, what would you say are the biggest obstacles to your mission and accomplishing your mission?
I think the biggest obstacle has been the organization of having those volunteers come and getting the word out about our organization. While we've been here for 30 years, we have been very goal-oriented in terms of scheduling different events. For example, the Muskegon County Latino Festival was a huge venture for us. And Muskegon County, the city, the county departments, all of the respective organizations were excited. And not only were they excited, but the community was excited with having over 3,000 participants on our first year. So I know that our allies want to support us and want to become volunteers of our efforts. And so just that organization piece, and for them to really reach out to us, so that way we can have more programming and to bring more culture and flair to the Muskegon County area.
That's great. I know I would love to volunteer and get involved. So I'm excited just hearing about the program and the things that you're doing. If I wanted to get to know the organization better, what are the best ways to learn more? So on that same note.
I would say through our Facebook page. We have a Facebook page called Latinos Working for the Future. We share announcement and news and events going on there. And then we also have a website called latinosworkingforthefuture.com, where they can also learn more about the organization, the history, the book, and then also contact us through that. It has our email address and phone number. So those are really 2 really good places to learn more about Latinos Working for the Future.
Great. Anything that you'd like to add to that, Helita?
Also, just to reach out to our board members. We are small, but we are mighty, and we are always willing and receptive to any help that the community wants to give us, and also just to share information. I know with Hispanic Heritage Month coming September 15th through October 15th, we've already been getting emails from different organizations that would love presentations and some assistance in sending up some DEI work within their respective organizations, and they have been reaching out to us already. So just being open and willing to know that we're open and willing as well.
Great. Well, what you do and what you're doing is a vital and critical part of our community. And I'm excited about the work that you're doing and the opportunity for you to do bigger and better things. So is there anything else that you'd like to add before we wrap this up?
Thank you for having us. And we hope to collaborate and promote our organization and our mission with your help.
Great. Outstanding. All right. With that, we'll wrap it up and send it back to you to the president.
Thank you to Angelita and Elizabeth for the presentation. Neither of our presenters are here today, so just wanted to let them know, if they were watching, that a donation will be made to community economic development in your name, and we thank you for sharing about your organization. On to birthdays. We have John Gale on the 3rd, Kim Keeson on the 6th, John Snyder on the 6th, Jen Lotchke on the 8th, and Jonathan Wilson on the 9th. Anybody here? Because we only sing if you're here. Or we got one? Oh, John is here. Well, let's sing happy birthday then. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. All right. Kathy Betts is in the table. She's at the table right next to you. If you'd like to donate your $10, goes towards Caring Connection, or you can just pretend you're not hearing me right now. All right, on to our member spotlight. This is something we do every week to highlight a member's vocation coming up. And we have a very special program. when we decided that we were going to do these, we wanted them to be broad and share things that people who are working today are doing, active in their careers, and also people that are retired. So we have one of our retirees today sharing what they did in their career, and this is Bill Locksterman, is going to be our 2-minute highlight.
Hi, I'm Bill Locksterman. I've been a Rotary member since about 1983 in 3 different clubs. I joined in Monroe, and then I moved back to Muskegon and joined the Montague Whitehall Club, and then later on transferred to the Muskegon Club. So been a part of about 34 years as a Rotarian. Why did I join? Pretty much like all the other people that talked to Mike about this stuff. It's the camaraderie and the networking, and a good way to keep in tune with what's going on in the community. Well, I've been living in Michigan for the more than 50 years since I got out of college and from Ohio University back in 1969 in the last millennium. Been in Muskegon like nearly 50 years, and I've been blessed to have 2 really great careers in Muskegon. I worked for the Muskegon Chronicle back in its heyday from about 1969 to 1983. And I ended up finishing my career at Muskegon Community College, and where I really had a super job, and I enjoyed getting up for work every day. Well, I like to think of myself as a promoter. I finished my career at the Muskegon Chronicle as the promotion manager, among other things, and did a lot of that with the community college. So I really believe in getting out in the community, letting folks know what Rotary is all about, and what we do for the community in terms of public service. Yeah, I believe in the big tent theory of Rotary, that there's something for everybody, and Rotary has a place for your skills and goals.
Thanks, Bill. That was fun. Bill and I had the chance to work together a couple of times when he was at MCC, and we made a private social network, and it was a big deal at the college. And then this thing called Facebook came along and kind of supplanted it. But those are good times, Bill. Now, a question for the group: is a ponytail still there? Thank you very much. Okay, on to announce. Yes. That's what I thought. The Ohio? Are you a Bobcat? I thought you were a Buckeye. Can you clarify? Can you clarify if you're are you an Ohio State grad or are you an Ohio Bobcat? Bobcat. Oh man, that's way better than that other Ohio university. Yes. All right. Let's see, I learned something I didn't know today. Okay, committee reports and announcements. First announcement is Day of Caring is September 10th, and the names on the sign just keep growing. So here's what's going on. We have 15 Interact students from Orchard View and Muskegon High that are volunteering for Day of Caring, and we have 16 Rotarians, actually 17, because I don't think I see John's name on there, signed up so far to help. So John, would you be willing to put some names on the back if more people sign up on your sign? So there's still room for more, even though the front of the sign is filled up. So Day of Caring, if you've ever participated in it, is a United Way event that happens annually out in the community. And we're looking for more Rotarians to get out there and get their hands dirty and help. So please see John Noling or Blake Kramer if you are interested in volunteering. Right? Rewind is tonight at 5:15 p.m. at the Social Sandbox, which is right next to Revel and Kitty Corner from 18th Amendment and Burl and Sprague. So that's at 5:15 p.m. You can come out and see what our satellite club is doing. I've been a couple of times, and it's a great group, and they'll be talking about Day of Caring amongst other things at the meeting. Also a reminder, I did fine Kathy $1. I don't know if I'm allowed to levy fines, but for her, a plug of, just so I make sure I get, Boys and Girls Club has a fundraiser coming up. The gala is coming up the 18th of September. So since she paid $1, I'm going to pay $1 because this is not an official Rotary event. And just remind y'all that Polish Fest is this weekend, Labor Day at Hackley Park. So you want to come on out, you can get some good Polish food and maybe a tiski or a varka and just hang out and do a polka dance. So that is happening. And then the last reminder is Mason will be out. He has set up outside and he is selling his wares for all of us. So now on to the raffle. Ed has our raffle today. So what's our first one going to be for? $20, starting with the big one.
411.
411 for $20. Rem Sprague. I feel like Rem has won recently a time or two. I know. Okay. What do we got next up on the raffle? $10. Okay.
440.
Right next door. All right. Okay, last one for $5. Oh, two-time winner. He kept the 20. He kept the 20, but he's donating the 5. Thanks, Rob. I would keep all of it. All right. Okay. Just to wrap up today, I want to thank our visitors, Chris, Monica, Mason, and Matt. Next week, we're going to have a live program with a Seaway Run. So one of our own, Bruce Spolman, will be giving an update along with Brian Lambert on this year's race. And Mark and I got a preview of it at a wrap-up meeting this week. And I think you're all going to be very happy with the results of the Seaway Run. So if everyone could please rise, we're going to do the 4-way test. Of the things we think, say, and do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? All right, have a great holiday weekend, everyone.